So give us a little background on Quarantine. I mean, I know obviously you guys started during the pandemic. You guys have done a handful of songs, kind of started as a recording project, man. But I know you guys have had some real success with it, man. I think every single you guys have done has been bigger than the one that's preceded it so far, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, man, give us a little bit of a background on kind of just how Quarantine all kind of came together.
Well, yeah, like you said, we started this during the lockdown, which is why we have the very brand specific name of Quarantine. And it was just an idea that a couple of friends of mine, Kent, our drummer, who I've known for years, and we're infamous 80s Kiss fans, non-makeup 80s Kiss fans. He drums for Luke Bryan, so he's doing stadiums and arenas for most of the year. But during the lockdown, he sent me this video that he and a guy called Joe McGinnis from a band, if you're a real hardcore Kiss fan, they're called Classic 78, which is they do Kiss material, but it's not Kiss material. It's like if Kiss was around, they would sound like this. And it's amongst the Kiss fandom, it's quite popular. So it was almost like a little bit of a pseudo Kiss super group. And they sent me a clip of No 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 from the Crazy Nights record. And I said, well, what are you guys using this for? And they said, we're just doing it for fun. Would you like to sing on it? I said, well, I don't do anything for fun. Let's see if we can do something with it. Because at the time, nobody was releasing any music to the radio because of lockdown and all that stuff. So I said, well, this might be a perfect time. So we did No No No, which is a very obscure Gene Simmons song, like I said, from the Crazy Nights record, 1987. And we put it to radio. And I think it went to like number 25 or something like that. Which we were laughing, like it's the highest charting song from the Crazy Nights record ever, including the original Kiss songs, because nobody was releasing anything. And there's a whole era, this whole era of Kiss in the 80s. People just don't know it or don't revel it the way that it should be reveled. But there's also a whole kind of sub-society of 80s Kiss fans who, much like me, consider that to be their best decade. So we thought, well, this is really cool. There's an unlimited wealth of material here that we can record. Why don't we continue? And so then we did another couple songs, Heart of Chrome and Love's a Deadly Weapon, and just decided to continue going. We had a chance to play a couple gigs and thought we would just take it from there. So it's turned into kind of a really cool side project for all of us with PJ Farley from Fozzy and Trickster, and Charlie Pata Del Ego, who's a YouTube sensation with like 1 million subscribers from Chile. So it's like I said, like an ipso facto 80s non-makeup Kiss supergroup, and we have a great time with it.
So what was the first? So I got into non-makeup Kiss first myself too, and that's what got me into them. Yeah. I picked up, I think it was Smashes, Thrashes, and Hits was the first thing I bought. And, obviously Let's Put the X in Sex is the first thing I bought it because I saw Heavens on Fire was on there. Right. So that was, I heard it on the radio. I'm like, I gotta go. Like, who is this, as a kid, right. But what album was it for you that got you into Kiss?
So I was a big Beatles fan. I used to hang out with these two guys that were older than me playing Dungeons and Dragons, and they were big Kiss fans. And so there was always kind of like Kiss versus Beatles versus Kiss versus Beatles, which is funny because Kiss are obviously Beatles disciples. But I remember when you mentioned Heavens on Fire, I saw that video and I saw this guy with like his hand on fire. And then this band just having the best time ever. They're making out with chicks and they're dancing and spinning and spitting out booze on each other. And I was like, who is this? And they said it was Kiss. And I was like, wasn't Kiss the guys with makeup? And then I realized they'd taken their makeup off. And that's when I was like, I want to be like that guy. I want to be like Paul Stanley. And that's where I really started getting into Kiss, was with the Heavens on Fire song and the Animalize record. And I was like, listen, I appreciate Kiss with makeup, but this non-makeup stuff is 1 million times better. And, I don't know if it's 1 million times better, but for me, I still love that era of Kiss. I still think Bruce Kulick is the greatest Kiss guitar player in history. And it just, to me, like this era was so much fun with all this great material that when Kiss reunited in 96 with Peter and Ace and put the makeup back on, all of that material got forgotten. And they would play a song here or there, Heavens on Fire, like you mentioned, or Lick It Up, or Hide Your Heart, maybe once in a while. But that wasn't enough, and I just thought, like, this era is so great. It's so catchy. And Kiss was always great at morphing with the times. Like, they start getting, a little bit, rough around the edges for the 70s dinosaur rock. So they do disco songs.
Mm.
And then they start doing really sappy pop songs in the early 80s when, Little River Band was hot. And then heaviness comes back. They do Creatures of the Night. Then, they take the makeup off and do kind of more Dawkins type stuff, Bon Jovi type stuff. And then Revenge comes. They start heavying it up and doing Pantera type stuff in a lot of ways. So they were always really good at morphing with the times around that era. And that all stopped when they put the makeup back on. And it was a real kind of a downer for me because this material is so good. And I thought there's a perfect place for us to take over kind of this market share of the non-makeup Kiss fans. And a lot of people don't know that era. And when they come to our shows, the music is so much fun and it's such party rock that even if you don't know the songs, you have a great time.
Mm-hmm. What's been the feedback from the guys in Kiss? Because I know obviously Bruce loves you guys. I saw him post that earlier today with kind of the learning tree reference and stuff that he did, which is really cool. So I know Bruce loves you guys. But yeah, I mean, what's been the response? Have you heard anything from Gene and Paul?
Well, Paul loves all the Paul songs. And anytime I sent him a Gene one, he'd send me like a puke emoji or something like that. I think Love's a Deadly Weapon. He wrote Bad Van Halen. I'm like, it's your song. He's like, no, it's not. But he loves. We've done Heart of Chrome from Revenge and Silver Spoon from Hot in the Shade. And Silver Spoon got to number 21 on the charts. And Paul really loved both of those. Very complimentary and very, impressed, shall we say. And then with Gene, we've done No, 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 and Love's a Deadly Weapon, but we just did Good Girl Gone Bad, and that one went to number 10 on the charts. And Gene is very appreciative. They both are. I mean, I think it's cool for them to know that you can release these songs to the radio and people will listen to them. Like getting a top 10 song isn't easy to do.
Mm.
And to do it with once again, an obscure Kiss song from, 37 years ago, like that's not easy to do. But the reason why it works is these songs are very good songs. And we play them a little bit more modern, add a little bit more punch to them and that sort of a thing. But a good song is a good song. I think Gene and Paul both appreciate the fact that we're doing this and spreading these songs to younger generations that probably don't even know who Kiss is.
Mm-hmm.
And now they do. And if they do know Kiss, they certainly don't know the material from the Crazy Nights, Hot in the Shade, Asylum records. And that's kind of what we're doing. So I think they appreciate it. They're both very supporting of it, especially when it's their respective songs that they wrote.
Right. I mean, well, speaking of Gene and Paul, who's harder to sing? Are the Gene songs harder to sing or the Paul songs harder to sing?
It's interesting. So I know the Paul songs very well because I once again, being a huge Paul Stanley fan and kind of ignoring a lot of the Gene stuff in that time frame. I knew all the songs, but didn't really know them. Like Heart of Chrome took me like an hour to sing because I've been singing it my whole life. Mm-hmm. Good Girl Gone Bad or Love's a Deadly Weapon or No, No, No. They're very hard to sing. These are the Gene songs because they're very, very almost proggy at times. And Gene's range is also very high. So his songs were harder to sing, even though Paul's range and technique is better. Gene's is just as good, but in a totally different way. Mm-hmm. So I really have to lock into that. And I think Good Girl Gone Bad might be the best of the 5 that I've sung. And that's because I really kind of locked into this Gene Simmons mentality of how he was singing it. And it's not as high of a range, which makes it a little bit more punchier and guttural. And I think it kind of fits my wheelhouse a little bit more. So Paul's technically are probably harder, but Gene's just got a different style to him, which makes it fairly hard as well. And there's a lot of weird, almost off time ins and outs within his music, which I don't even know if he planned on it. A lot of times those things just happen because that's the way they recorded it. But I would give the credit to Gene just for not realizing just how great of a singer he was at that time frame and how intricate those songs are.
I texted you after we played with you guys the first run through at Jurgles, and I said something to the effect of like, even in the crowd, it was hard. Like I know all those songs and I know all those words, whatever, but you don't realize how many words they have in every one of those songs in the 80s. They're so wordy, and like you're singing, it's like, oh my God, like as a fan, like I'm sitting there taking a breath, like, holy crap, like how many more lyrics can Desmond and Paul cram into this thing, you know?
It's crazy. Like live, we added a couple songs that, like for example, All Hell's Breaking Loose from Lick It Up. There's literally 100 lyrics in that. Like there's lyric sheets like on the ground, you know, and like you said, I didn't realize how technical these songs are. And I don't think a lot of people do. These are hard songs to play. Like, ask the guys in our band. There's been a couple songs that we dropped because they were just too hard. Like Love's a Deadly Weapon is a very hard song to play, and it just didn't fit the set anymore. So we got rid of it. But you know, like Thou Shall Not, there's stuff in that song. It's like, what the fuck are they doing? Like, I don't even know. You know, and that vocally and musicianship wise, these songs are no joke. It's not like you're playing, you know, Talk Dirty to Me or something like that from Poison. These are hard songs to play. And I think once again, it gives Kiss a lot more respect when you try and play them. And when people hear them going, this is a Kiss song. Wow. I had no idea that they did such intricate parts and were so heavy or had such guitar dynamics in that time frame. But we do. And another thing we like to do, we started doing is doing from the Kiss Animalize Uncensored tour, which is a famous video that came out in 85 actually. They did 5 makeup songs without the makeup, but they were really fast. Everything was really pushed. So we do Love Gun, we do Cold Gin, we do Detroit Rock City, but just play them really, really fast. And that's fun too, because like it's just Lick It Up is like it's like this is way too fast, but it's fun. So we do play some makeup tunes, but done the way that the non-makeup version did them in the early 80s. And that's fun to do as well.
Yeah, man, those are a blast when you guys include them. And we covered I Just Wanna for a hot minute there. And it, just like you said, though, is like, oh my, like there it is so, and we're doing it as a 3-piece, but you're trying to fit all the words and all the phrasings and to get it all right. Like we did it for a little while, then it was like, man, this is too hard. Like it's just too hard for what we're doing. You know what I mean?
And see, I Just Wanna is one of those ones that we actually open with I Just Wanna. You know, it's a cappella and it kicks in. It's got a sing along right in the middle. Right off the bat, it kind of tells the tale of what we're doing. And that one's not too bad for me because, like I said, I've been singing these Paul songs in my car. I love Revenge. It could be my favorite Kiss album, period, with the exception of Alive 1. And so that one was like, yeah, let's do I Just Wanna. And, you know, I don't want to romance. I don't want to dance. I just want to forget you. I mean, it's just ridiculously like fun to sing and play. And once again, like, it's another song that like these are Kiss gems. Like if you buy a Kiss Alive 3, a lot of these songs are on it, and that's probably the last time they ever played them was on that tour. And to me, it's kind of a drag. A, the songs are so high that Paul probably wouldn't be able to sing them in that range. And 2, you know, when people are going to the end of the road tour, of course, I want to hear I Just Wanna. But if they put in I Just Wanna and don't play Shout It Out Loud, there's gonna be a lot of people that are really pissed off. Not me, but
right.
You know, the other 18,000 people would be. So I get the fact they don't do those anymore. And that's why, all right, we will do them.
So I want to get your thoughts on, well, a lot of the non-makeup albums. We'll go through some of these real quick, but give me your top 3 of the non-makeup. You just said Revenge, you think is probably your number 1, right?
I mean, you really can't go wrong because if you really focus in on it, there's only, I think, 7. There's Lick It Up, there's Animalize, there's Asylum, there's Crazy Nights, there's Hot in the Shade, there's Revenge, and there's Carnival of Souls. And then, of course, you've got Smashes Thrashes, but that's got 2 new songs. I mean, I think I would say Revenge and Crazy Nights are my 2 favorite out of all of them, with probably Asylum as number 3, I'd say. I think, you know, Carnival of Souls is way off, and Animalize, the Gene songs on that album aren't great. But you can't go wrong with Lick It Up either. It's a pretty killer. Hot in the Shade, it's a little bit too long. There's 15 songs on it where they easily could have pared it down to 10 or 12. But I mean, this is getting really deep into the Kiss nerd woods, you know. But
that's good. Yeah, that's
beautiful. Favorite would be Revenge, and probably runner-up is Crazy Nights, I think.
Yeah, you know, Kiss, it was just, I don't think there's a band outside of the Beatles probably that have had their songs dissected as much as Kiss either. Like there's so many Kiss books and so many Kiss biographies and so many like Kiss podcasts. And yeah,
there's still half a dozen Kiss podcasts or a dozen Kiss podcasts every week what left is there to talk about? But there's way more Kiss podcasts than there's Beatles, Stones, Metallica, YouTube, Springsteen, whoever it is. Whatever, there's something about Kiss, like you said, that people want to dissect it and get really deep into the woods. And that's another reason why Quarantine we do so well, is there are a lot of Kiss fans that want to see this material.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, along with a lot of people that have no idea and they just want to come to a great rock show. But you have a band that can sustain a certain era. There's no other band. I mean, there might be maybe a Bowie tribute band that just does Aladdin Sane, maybe, or just does, the Let's Dance album. I don't know. But to have a Kiss cover band that just does non-makeup 80s Kiss, I mean, you're taking your demo to like this. You know what I mean? But yet we're still able to have some great shows and do good on the radio. So I don't think there's another band that you can really do that with.
So any kind of surprises in store, anything that you can kind of let on of as far as kind of before you guys are doing this? I remember the last one you guys did a meet and greet before, and I think it was the first time you were all rehearsed together, even since you were on, I think, the Jericho cruise, and you guys sounded great. Like, you pulled it off, but you did like 3 or 4 songs. Like, yeah, there was our rehearsal for the, but any kind of surprises?
I mean, it is kind of cheating a little bit because, like you said, I mean, we rehearse before the cruise every year, and then this is the 3rd year in a row where we were able to do some gigs, and we weren't able to rehearse last year. This year, last year we started in Jurgles. This year we end in Jurgles, in Pittsburgh, Warrendale, like you said. And that's the beauty of doing the VIP, is that we get a chance to go through some of these songs. Like, we have to play Good Girl Gone Bad because it's did so well at the radio, but on the Jericho cruise, it wasn't even out yet. So it's like, we're going to have to rehearse that, probably do it in sound check before, then do the VIP. So at least we'll get, a couple run throughs of it before we start playing it live. But the thing is too, we know these songs very well. That's the thing. I mean, these aren't songs that we just wrote, 6 months ago. We've been singing these songs, like I said, for the better part of 40 years. So, we're adding a couple extra tunes. Your aforementioned X and Sex. I mean, that's so pompously cheesy to play, and it's awesome. X and Sex, you got to do that. So, we've got a really great set list, and we're playing Detroit this time. So, like I said, we're going to add Detroit Rock City. I mean, I don't think you have to rehearse that. We've played those songs 1,000 times in different bands and, in our heads. So, having said that, it's always good to have the run through and to play, if I was a fan and one of my favorite bands back before I was in the business offered a VIP access where you get to hear some extra songs that you're not going to hear later, or hear the band working on it. I mean, I remember I used to sneak into the arena to watch, Iron Maiden sound check or something. Now you can actually come and be welcome and hang out and be a part of it. So it's something that works quite well with Fozzy, and it worked quite well with Quarantine as well.
Speaking of the Kiss videos from back then, and you mentioned you mentioned Heaven's on Fire. Are there any that really kind of stand out to you? Because I mean, I'm just going through my head, like, they start to blur together with me because they're so over the top 80s and kind of ridiculous, which is what I love about all of them. But is there any one that kind of stands out? Even, I mean, I think I would have to look here, but the one off of, I believe there was a couple off of Asylum that were just insane too.
Well, Asylum is Who Wants to Be Lonely, Tears Are Falling, and All Night.
Yeah, it was Who Wants to Be Lonely, I think, was the one I'm thinking of.
Who Wants to Be Lonely is just all neon pink, and there's the jungle set where Paul's flying across the jungle on the trapeze. I mean, All Night's great with the chicks pushing the beds and they're looking through the key. I love that one. I think that Domino's a cool one. Gene just driving down the road, which is rare because Paul's on bass, which must have driven Paul crazy because it's Paul, Bruce, and Eric in the studio while Gene's driving in his car around, sipping on a soda. I mean, all those songs, all those videos. Heaven's on Fire, you can't go wrong with that. That's got to be one of my all-time favorite videos ever. So I mean, the videos were a representation of the songs, and the representation of the songs was mirroring what was going on in the decade, which was just fun, sex, rock and roll, drugs, parties. I mean, that's Kiss in the 80s, man. And there's nothing wrong with revisiting that and glorifying that like we do in Quarantine.
Yeah, I know you guys incorporate some of the stage moves, some of the I think I'm trying to think what video was your outfit based on last time that you were or was it
Last
just a,
time was You Make Me Rock Hard.
all right.
This video I think is based on the Asylum tour. So I mean, you can go back and just find these amazing. We did a show in Nashville, a Kiss convention, where I mimicked Paul's stage raps completely from the Animalized tour. And if you didn't know they were Paul Stanley stage raps, I'd probably get canceled because they're very, walking in and seeing a nurse with the biggest tits he's ever seen and just making out with himself, doing the Ralph Mouth thing, from behind. Like this.
Yeah. Right.
But it's once again, it's fun. It was a mirror of the times, and like I said, we always have, plants in the crowd throwing panties on stage because that's what Kiss would do. If you look at the Analyzed live, there's hanging them off the damn mic stands, and they're like, listen, there's no chicks in the crowd. You see but yet there's 100 lingerie on stage. Like, come on, you got to do that too. So all that stuff. It's tongue in cheek fun. It's what Steel Panthers based their whole act on. Was what bands like Kiss did in the 80s, and it's fun, and that's what rock and roll should be, especially when you're talking about Kiss.
Nice, man. One more quick, Chris, and I'll let you go, man. Thank you again for the time. But as far as you guys have done a handful of songs here. Do you guys know do you have your eyes on what you guys are going to record next, or is that already done? Or
well, we've got a couple ideas, and the idea is always to do a Gina Paul. So Paul's owed one, and he's got so many great tunes, and there's a lot of do we go obscure and do we go heavy? Do we go poppy? And we try to stay away from songs that already have videos. But a song like "Turn on the Night" is such a great tune that should have been a huge hit, in my opinion. And the thing that they always laugh about with those, like, well, you should have heard the demo. The demo was a lot heavier. I'm like, well, why don't we just do it then heavier? Take the keyboards out and make it heavy. So there's a lot of different thoughts that we could do. We usually do a song every 6 months or so. So Good Girl Gone Bad just finished up on the chart. So I'd say probably maybe in the new year, we'll start looking at what the next one's going to be, but it'll be something killer as always.
Nice, man. Nice. Well, Chris, brother, I'll let you go here, man. But thank you so very much for the time, and again, very much looking forward to seeing you guys out at Jericho's again, man. It's gonna be a blast for anybody out there watching, man. It's a total party. Yeah. You're gonna be smiling ear to ear the whole show because it's just a super fun show, man. But yeah, absolutely can't wait.
That's July 7th, right? July 7th at Jericho's in Pittsburgh area.
Yes. And
then we're also July 5th in the Detroit area at Diesel, and then July 6th is JD Legends in Franklin, Ohio. And you can get all the information and brouhaha at Kuarantine.com. Quarantine with a K.